It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau is back. Jeff Jarvis is here. Well, he's not exactly here. He's in his garden, but we'll explain. Coming up, what Google's rivals want to do to Google. It might not be the best thing for everybody else. Jeff Jarvis gets in trouble on X.com. What's new about that? And a brand new job for Paris. We're pretty proud of her. That and a whole lot more, including Mark Zuckerberg's 7-foot statue of his wife, coming up next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 781, recorded Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. But officer, I'm a podcaster. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, a show where we cover Google and everything surrounding Google, which is the entire universe. She's back, and I'm so glad. Not that we didn't love our other hosts, but we missed you. Paris Martineau, reporter for The Information. Hi, Paris.
Hi. I missed you guys, too.
Did you have fun in the nation's capital?
I did. It was really lovely, actually.
Did you give our regards to Uncle Joe?
I found him and I told him the podcast is watching. He said that didn't really make sense. And I was like, that's fair.
You were at a conference, a journalism thing.
I was not exactly a journalism conference, but I was at a conference about like ending online exploitation by the National Center of Sexual Exploitation. And it's really interesting, actually. They have become it's like a small nonprofit organization. And over the last couple of years, they've become a huge thorn in the side of big tech because they are behind bills like KOSA and things like that. So it was a big activist organization of people kind of advocating for bills like that. Like it started the first day I was there with a rally on Capitol Hill to, get Congress to,
91
and then it
to
ended
3,
with
the Senate voted for KOSA.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and it ended with them going through the halls of Congress and meeting with representatives of the House to advocate for KOSA in the House. So it was very interesting.
You should have tripped them. You should have stopped them. You should have.
That's
locked the door.
Jeff Jarvis. He's looking young. We've got a really good camera now. Jeff's Verizon. It won't be back till tomorrow. It left and it says, I went out for a pack of cigarettes and it's not coming back till tomorrow. So Jeff is on the phone. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I'm in Zoom.
Oh.
But I'm on a hotspot.
Jeff's got a complicated assortment of things going on to bring him here to us today, and we're all very happy for that.
We're just
Twit
relieved.
turned off the call into Zoom feature for some ungodly reason.
Just to spite you, I would assume.
Yes.
We just never imagined anybody would need it.
Guys.
Okay. We'll fix that. And I am.
I went through great machinations to find the phone number, and I called in and said, nope, you're on Google Workroom. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's probably what they said. Well, anyway, we're just glad we could get you from his home. Actually, he's now outside in the patio, which is nice, and a beautiful day in the Garden State.
It is lovely.
Yeah. And I am up in the attic, as I promised you last week. We closed the studio. You should see. It looks like a war zone in the studio. It's just like stuff scattered everywhere. Hamburger wrappers, everything just scattered everywhere.
Just loose hamburger wrappers. A cartoon character stumbled through there.
Yeah, it's like it's a scene out of Fallout. But I think the attic came out pretty nice. Do you like it?
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah.
Walk me through some of the stuff behind you. It's so cute.
Well, I could have taken, but I did not, all of my goodies. This is where you'll sit.
Oh,
if you come
I
visit
like
me.
the egg chair. Is that where you sit to, have a quiet contemplative moment?
I contemplate my navel in the egg chair. That's, believe it or not, the old Dr. Evil chair.
You try to find your navel.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Like you bought it from the set?
No. Bought it. I own the set. What do you mean bought it? Oh, brought it. Yes, I brought it.
No. Like the doctor. Oh, you mean the chair from your office you referred to as the Dr.
it's
Evil
not
chair.
From the movie.
That's why I was surprised. I was like, that would be crazy.
See, watch. If I turn it around, you might recognize it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
recognize it
that's
now?
cute.
It's the Dr.
Yeah, I
Evil.
do.
Yeah.
And then
I like
so
all
I
the
brought
hats
that.
in the corner, too.
I brought as
I like
many
that you have
hats as I
actual
could.
books.
I got rid of most of the hats, and I still have a hat rack there, a hat rack there, a hat rack there. I have far too many hats. But you never know. You never know when you're going to need a hat, right? That's kind of
Harris, in the old days, when he had visitors in the studio, after the show, they would come and
Take
take
a hat.
pictures with him, and then they would put on fezes. So
I
everybody
do
wore a
remember
fez
this.
Yeah, I
for a
have.
picture with Leo.
What I didn't know, and I'm kind of surprised to learn, is I had hundreds of fezzes. I didn't realize that because they were in all different locations. Oh, I like your cowboy hat.
Thank you. It's the closest hat I have whenever someone mentions a hat.
Well, now you're making me want to get a fez out. All right. Well,
We've done this exact scenario before.
We've done this bit before?
We've done this bit before. I was wearing the cowboy hat. You were like, I've got to put on a fez. Jeff also has a fez.
And then you
I'm
put on
happy
the hot dog hat.
I hate repeating
I did,
myself.
yeah.
Did I put on
That's
the
really
kepi
good.
though? This is the more modern
That's the
fez.
fancy one.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, Ataturk invented this. Anyway, yeah. So I took some stuff like this is Jammer B's Mac 128K, the original Mac. He donated that to the set, which was nice.
That's beautiful.
This mixing console behind me is not the same exact one, but it's a duplicate of the one that I started in radio using in the old days. That's how we had to broadcast.
Wow.
With proper modulation?
Yes,
That's a Howard Stern joke.
with proper modulation. And the Nixie clock I brought from the old studio, the same with the Altair and the Pi DP. And I tore this medallion. The twin medallion was behind me in my office. I tore it off the wall. I was concerned. I thought it might be made of drywall, but it's not. It's solid wood. It's
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice. It was glued on, so I pulled it off. Anyway, yeah, we kind of built a little cozy little place up here, and I'm actually very happy. I have all the buttons. Although Benito is, as always, today running the board, he will continue to do that. So anyway, yeah, I think you should keep that hat on the whole show.
I do think I should. I mean, it's precarious. It's a hat for a cat. So I'll see how long it can stay on my head.
That's funny because I have. Let me get it. A hat for. I have a fez for a dog.
A fez for a dog and a hat for a cat?
I can match you.
Oh, that's really good.
Doesn't exactly.
It's hard when you
Wait a minute, I've
move your
unplugged
head
here.
while
Hold on a
talking,
second.
like I want to do.
I need the strap should be longer because I can't. Can you stretch?
Yeah,
you're
I'm
not a
not going to
dog.
stretch. I'm not going to stretch the strap out because I need it to get
For
Gizmo
your
wear.
cat? Well, unfortunately, at this length, it's a no strap. That's not a very good look, is it? But yeah, isn't that's this?
I
was
have a question though. How far back is the stuff behind you? Is it like a trick of the camera where it looks really close,
a couple
or is
hundred
it?
miles.
Oh
no.
wow!
Here,
You know,
watch.
it
You can watch
seems
me go
much
back.
closer than that. Oh, okay, that's about as far as I.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
actually, that's farther.
That's farther. Yeah.
That is farther.
Yeah.
Because whenever I try and like put something cute right behind me or something, it's always either too close or too far.
You have to have some depth. And then
Yeah.
this camera is carefully designed to be slightly out of focus for the background. See, it's slightly out of focus. But if I get out of it, if I hide actually, it's looking at my eyes. So if I hide my eyes, it gets in focus, right? No.
If you had
there.
a pair of eyes
See, I got out of
behind
it.
you,
It gets in focus. And then
what
if I
sort of
get back
camera
in,
is that?
fancy. In fact, we should get you one.
Got a new camera, a Brio, MX Brio.
And you're
Logitech,
looking
which is
so
really
good,
It's
Jeff.
4K.
It's
I
doing
know, it
such a
works
good
really well,
job, I
doesn't it?
think.
Ooh.
You
Maybe
look
younger, don't you think?
20 years younger. No, the Brio's good. That's what Lisa uses on her computer. That's the high-end Logitech. But I got these three Sony FX30 cameras, recommendation of Alex Lindsay from MacBreak Weekly. He's the king of streaming. So I have three shots. I have the single. I have the wide, which shows you more of the studio. And then when I want to beg for money for Club Twit, I have the close-up. Give me money.
So that you can play a Sarah McLachlan song and look deep into the
Yes.
camera.
These poor podcasters. They'll live on the streets unless you join Club Twit. The whole idea here is to give me the flexibility to actually have a guest. So at some, I don't
Will
need
they sit in
three
the Dr.
cameras.
Evil chair?
Yeah, they would sit. Yeah, I'd have to move it a little closer and stuff, but yeah, that's the idea. So if you ever come out to visit, we've never met, have we?
No, we
person?
haven't. Not
No.
in person. We might when you come to New York.
I will be in New York in 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
I will be here
We should do a
for
meetup.
most of those days.
Jeff, you could come too.
Yes. that's
Yeah,
my plan.
Jeff, you'd be allowed to come.
Are you going to do the show that week from New York? The shows?
No.
No, you're
I'm
taking
on.
off.
That's called a vacation where you don't work.
But we need to do the show.
You
Somebody
are not on
else,
vacation.
right?
You must
Right.
show up. I shall be on vacation September 5th through the 22nd.
Which is to say we can't meet on Wednesday evening.
No, it would probably be a Thursday or a Friday.
Okay.
What days work
We
for
should
you?
do a Thursday because I
Thursday?
think Friday.
Yeah, because
I'm
Friday's like a party night
flying.
for you.
Friday she goes out with her young friends.
She-
No,
Gen
Friday
Z,
I'm
she's
flying to
ski-balling.
Croatia. But
What?
Oh,
that
really?
Friday, yeah.
Where
I realized
is that vacation
my.
or is that?
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Dubrovnik.
I love it. It's
Really?
beautiful.
Wow.
You will love it.
Yeah, it'll be really cute.
Croatia is gorgeous. Thank you.
Going with friends.
My
Maybe some
parents
bowl?
actually are going. My
Oh,
parents.
wow.
She's still likes her parents enough to vacation with them.
Of course.
By the way, thank you, Joe, for the best badge ever. Warning, some objects may be further than they appear.
I like that it looks like Leo is falling.
I can't show you because I don't have that capability, but if you're in the club, it's in the Discord. That's why you should join the Discord. Anyway, good. So let's do it Thursday before you go to Croatia. It's
Sounds
set
good.
in stone now.
Fantastic.
Okay. And now we just have to find a venue. And then I think we'll have a great time.
I feel like the city of New York might have some.
There might be what we want. We're looking for somewhere that kids can come to because occasionally people bring their children. So that means
Just
it
go
have
to
to be
Bryant Park.
food. Bryant Park. We should just have it in the park.
It's a very New York thing to do.
All right. Do I have to get a permit?
No. Well, how many people are going to be there?
100.
Oh, well, maybe.
I would just say, officer, I had no idea.
Officer, I'm a podcaster. You don't
Officer,
understand.
I'm a podcaster. I thought there'd be 2 people here. Me and,
Officer,
and
Depends on
you
the
don't
weather.
understand. I record a podcast. The rules don't apply to me. I'm above the law.
okay, we have stories we should talk about, although this is much more fun. Google is about to be broken up if the DOJ gets its way. They've said now. By the way, that is a good line, and I'm going to use it in New York. Officer, I'm a podcaster. I think that's a really good. That's a really good line. The DOJ says that they're going to ask the judge for a breakup. Now, what would it be? I guess it would be search. It would be YouTube. It would be Android. These would all be separate companies.
Ad companies.
Oh,
There's
and
2 different ad companies, in and out. Supply side and demand side.
yeah, and that's, by the way, the biggest. And they didn't even address this. The biggest conflict of interest is Google both buys and sells ads. Like, that's crazy. So, if anything happens, it's going to be a while.
It's going to make any sense. Oh, it's going to be a long while. And the stock market is stock
we're
is
not
down
getting-
today. I looked, but it's not like it had a huge reaction to the
Well, and I think the market understands that this is not for a long time. Let me see. Here's the price didn't change that much. This is intraday, so let me look at the 5 days. Yeah, see, there was a big drop at the beginning of the day at 9:00 when the market first heard about it, and that big sell-off, and then it came back a little bit. Although, you know what? That's a big downfall from July a month ago when it closed at $192. It's now $162. That's a pretty big sell-off. Not that the market is all that matters in this stuff, but
I'm surprised it didn't even get a bump from its little event the other day.
well,
You
the
guys-
other day was just yesterday. Jeff and I covered it, and it is very possible that they didn't. It was already baked into the price, right? because there was no surprise.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Some of the things that are an issue, of course, for Apple and Firefox and Samsung, we talked about this last week, they get big payments. Apple, $20 billion a year from Google to be the default search engine on iPhone. Then that was one of the main things the DOJ and the judge agreed was illegal. Google was using its monopoly power and its vast resources to preserve its monopoly, to keep anybody else from entering the search market by buying, one might say, bribing Apple, Samsung, and Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder with conservative courts whether that stands.
It's going to go to the Supreme Court, of course.
It is. It is. So Leo, you mentioned last week that your thought was to open source the index, which Business Insider wrote about as if they thought of it. You thought of it first.
No, I didn't. I think I was quoting them because I don't want to take credit for that because people are mad at me for that.
People mad at one of us online? I'm shocked.
I can't remember what their objection was to open sourcing it. So I think somebody said it just makes everybody equally bad. It doesn't solve the problem.
It is. Bloomberg had some interesting reporting on this DOJ story this week. They wrote, divesting the Android operating system used on about 2.5 billion devices worldwide is one of the remedies that's been most frequently discussed by the Justice Department attorneys, according to some people. Which I was surprised that is something that they are strongly discussing and considering.
Say that again.
One of the things that the Justice Department attorneys are considering as a remedy is making Google get rid of the Android operating system or spin it off.
That way, if they break it up.
That's the thing they did. That's the thing that most encouraged a competitive world with Apple.
Yeah,
I agree. And this is the peril of this. These companies are so big, and there are so many consequences. As I said, Firefox would probably be out of business if they forbid these payments. This is from Bloomberg a couple of days ago. U.S. considers rare antitrust move breaking up Google, and this is because they won in court. Now, Judge Mehta will have to, M-E-H-T-A, by the way, has no relationship.
No relation.
Mark Zuckerberg. Judge Mehta has to set a date for another trial for the penalty. But at that point, that's when the DOJ says, well, here's what we want, Your Honor. It says the government will likely seek a ban on the type of exclusive contracts that were at center of the case against Google. Those are the $20 billion payments to Apple, et cetera. The most likely units, this is according to Bloomberg, the most likely units for divestment are the Android operating system and Google's web browser Chrome.
Does that really hurt Google, either of those?
No.
Let's just talk that through.
No.
Right, it doesn't. Android exists somewhere. People use phones. People still like to use Google search and Google features wherever those phones are. Now they can't be accused of tying it to the operating system, and we're all going to want to use it. I will. Or Chrome. It's not really a business.
Well, in fact, if you think about it, why does Google have Android and Chrome? One reason only. You have to understand what Google's business is. It's not search, it's advertising. So all of Google's other products besides advertising are designed to get you to see Google advertising. So they want the browser because then, you can see more Google advertising. They want Android because what do? 9/10 of the time you're in the line at a grocery store or anything else, you're looking at your phone. So they want your phone. This is the most valuable real estate in the world is your phone home screen. And you can go on and on. They want YouTube for advertising purposes. So they're all the same. I don't think, and here's the thing, I don't think if you got Google to sell off Chrome or sell off Android, that would impact it because people would still be using Chrome and Android and you'd still be seeing Google ads. So I think what you really have to do is what you said at first, Jeff, which is break up the ad business, at least into two.
But this case is not about the ad. That's the upcoming FTC case.
Right.
And this case is about
well, Meta ruled that Google illegally monopolized. Well, this is the ruling was that they illegally monopolized the markets of online search and search text ads. Remember, it was about text ads.
Right.
So it is about ads.
Well, okay, but stop right there. It's text ads. It's not all of the programmatic advertising where they have buy side and sell side. So that's not part of this.
Well,
another point that Bloomberg mentioned is, quote, another option would require Google to divest or license its data to rivals like Microsoft's Bing or DuckDuckGo. Judge Mehta's ruling found that Google's contracts ensure not only that its search engine gets the most user data, 16 times as much as its next closest competitor, but that data stream also keeps its rivals from improving their search results and competing effectively. I do feel like that would have a notable impact on their business if they had to level the playing field with competitors and license their data to their rivals. No?
That was kind of the Leo fix last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of sync in our Discord says the harm in this is that Google's practices keep people from having a competitive web search option. But none of these proposed remedies fixes this, except for perhaps licensing the search index. He says, and I think he might not be wrong, that they're just trying to destroy Google because they don't like Google because Google's too big. Yeah. But
it's very politically popular to go after Silicon Valley right now.
I agree with the premise that Google's too powerful. I agree with the premise that they use their monopoly to buy and sell ads. So they've juked the ad market unnaturally. This is exactly why you have antitrust, because it's not a free market.
Again, that's not what this case is.
Yeah.
This is like going after Microsoft in the old days. It's always going to be 5 steps behind yesterday's war.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll watch with interest. I mean, it's kind of moot at this point. They have to have another trial to determine the remedies, and then there'll be an appeal and an appeal and an appeal, and we're at least, I would say, 3 years out, if not 5.
Oh, yeah. Plus, you might have a new president who comes from California.
And a new mix of a Supreme Court, which is probably where the case will end up eventually.
So it really is up in the air. It's like
but I do think that this, I mean, the climate that we're in politically and socially is really relevant here. And this is what we're also seeing with, bills like KOSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, and all these different efforts to kind of stick it to big tech in some way or another. Right. Often they don't make sense. Often they seem, if you peer into the details, like they won't work. But the reality is they're being driven by a surge in like tech animus that is going to produce some sort of result, be it like legislatively or politically or socially. At a certain point, this is going to spill over into something. I think it just remains to be seen what the exact, result is.
Well, to get back to KOSA, that's exactly what happened. The 91 senators that voted for KOSA didn't agree on why. Mm-hmm. I mean, Marsha Blackburn says because the internet spreads transgender propaganda. It's for all. I mean,
and now it's technically KOSPA. It's not even KOSA. It's the Kids Online Safety and Privacy Act.
Is that the House name? That's the House's.
So no, as part of it going through the Senate, they combined KOSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, with COPPA 2.0, and they call it KOSPA. Which is, I was on the Hill last week and was sitting in the room while some of these activists were meeting with like House representatives and their staff. And even some of them were like, which one is it now? I've fully forgotten. It's hard to keep track. So I think that everyone is struggling a bit, which is makes things even more complicated when you're talking about a bill that would be the biggest tech regulation we've had in decades.
At that conference, was there optimism that the House would pass it?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I'd say
it hasn't even been brought up for a vote, though, right in the House, right? I mean,
it hasn't, but they're also in August recess right now. It's not going to happen this session.
Left early. Yeah.
And part of it is, I mean, I asked the CEO of Nikosi, kind of the leading sponsor of the event, like, what do you think? Because I'd heard that there have been like rumors, I think from even Punchbowl News reported that they spoke to one like House aide, and they had said that among like the Speaker of the House, the current Bill of KOSA is like dead in the water. This was a couple weeks ago, though, so who knows what's changed since then. But I asked, what do you think about that? And she's like, yeah, honestly, we've been so focused on getting it through the Senate. We haven't had much time to focus in the House. And now all systems go on trying to convert people in the House. I think they already have a couple dozen co-sponsors for the bill in the House. And it seemed, at least as I was taught, like following around people, everyone this group spoke with seemed fairly convinced by it.
It's easy. You go into a member of Congress and say, well, you wouldn't want to be the one who voted against this and didn't protect the children, right? Mm-hmm. You care about kids, don't you? And I mean, regardless of what the staff tells the member of Congress, because it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't protect the kids. That's our position. It doesn't protect anybody. It just makes a mess of things, including, and we had Shoshana Weissman on Sunday on This Week in Tech. She writes for R Street, which is a kind of a conservative lobbying group. But one of the things she writes a lot about is age verification doesn't work, can't work, and ultimately
it's a privacy violation of the yin-yang.
Huge privacy violation for adults. So it's a non-starter. And the other thing she said is, in her opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people, it doesn't pass the First Amendment issues. The courts would inevitably throw it out, but nobody cares. And I said, well, are members of Congress and the Senate voting for this because that gives them cover? They don't care. They don't want it to pass, but they don't want to be the ones seen to vote against protecting the children. And she said, no, they really believe in it. But it's pretty obvious that the First Amendment challenges alone would torpedo it.
I think that it's really interesting because it seems to be something that is almost divorced from logic. It is, I mean, the perfect combination of the, oh, won't you think of the children moral panic with this long simmering, now at a boil, rage against technology companies. And you have all of these senators or representatives who have to sit there and listen to these awful stories from parents who've had terrible things happen to their kids, and they end up finding it very compelling. It seems like a easy cause to like rally people for. One of the people who spoke at this conference was the Attorney General of New Mexico, Raul Torres, who's one of the many attorneys general who's sued Meta for things relating to this. And I was asking him, I was like, oh, like what led you to, in your first year here as Attorney General, go after a company like Meta? And he's like, well, he had previously, I guess, focused on child sexual abuse material and things like that. And he's like, and so I was looking for a kind of similar targets like that. He reached out to third-party organizations to kind of get some data on it. He's like, oh, the place where the most of this is being shared now is on Meta. And so he's like, of course I'm going to go after this huge tech company. It's very politically expedient to do that, especially when we have the data to back it up. So I think it is kind of interesting because we are in a moment where even if the logic isn't there as to the way these bills are written, people are so in their feelings about it that it is difficult to stop this ball once it has started rolling.
I think you're really right, Paris. In my recent, I'm really glad you're doing policy stuff now because it'll be fascinating to compare notes. In my trips to Washington and Sacramento, what I see is staffs who are trying to bring sense and logic to this stuff. And they just beg people like you or me to say, give me another idea here. Give me another alternative. Give me another way to think about this. Because their bosses are going to come out with one pat line. Well, you don't mean you want to be against children. You don't mean you're against copyright. You don't mean you're against news, right? And that makes it easy for them. And the staff is caught in the middle. And I found the staffs are smart and are trying, but they've got a really hard job.
Well, it just shows you nuance doesn't do well in Congress, apparently.
God, no.
Politics and nuance don't go together. And of course they don't, because the voters don't get nuance, don't have time to get nuance. If it doesn't fit in a 30-second ad.
I wouldn't blame them. I'd blame media if they're playing the media.
Yeah. Sigh. Let's take a little break and come back. We have so much to talk about. The Google event from yesterday. I'm going to give you a little. I have a couple of things I want to do. One is go through some of the photographic features that they're adding to Pixel phones, and I'm really curious how photographers are going to react to this, because already you have people saying, "Oh, AI is going to cause huge problems," and now you've got this where you've got AI in every phone, and every picture is really a kind of a hybrid of a photograph and AI. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the new Google Intelligence and the voice, the uncanny new voice that they're using. Actually, it's pretty canny. Lots to talk about. Schools banning phones. A Florida firm losing 2.9 billion personal records of Americans and Canadians, including social security numbers.
Whoops.
Yeah. And why Hellmann's mayonnaise may be the key to nuclear fusion. All that and more. I'll throw that one in if things get slow. Coming up on This Week in Google. It's great to have you back, Paris. And I'm so glad that you're up on this KOSA thing. We will, because this is a big issue. And we're going to talk a lot about it. Yeah. And we're going to watch with interest. It's funny. All the people who are knowledgeable about tech are all against it. The people who are in fact in charge are not. So we've got this real conflict here. It's not the first time. The KOSA has been on the ballot for years now. Jeff Jarvis is also here on his phone from his patio. And
I'm waving right now, but you can't see me.
I can feel it.
At least we can hear you, you know. We should explain that Jeff's Verizon Fios is out for 24 hours.
I believe
warning.
it'll come back before the show.
So,
I believe in the power of technology. Someone
because you're also on Fios. You have to believe.
If I stop believing in Fios, it will stop working.
Hey, if I could get
Tinkle
Fios,
Trail.
I would be thrilled. We're, of course, on Comcast because there's no choice. And because Comcast has been going up and down a little bit here, we just ordered Starlink, which I hate to give Elon even a penny, but it's a good solution. So we're going to have Starlink up on the roof as a failover because we cannot not produce these fabulous programs for you. Maybe there are those who disagree with that, but we feel like we've got to do it. Our show today brought to you by our great sponsor, 1Password. They had such great news a couple of months ago. 1Password acquired one of our favorite sponsors, Collide. I've always loved Collide, Kolide. You've heard me do the ads, because Collide was security that puts users first, that lets users be part of your security team, your employees, the people that you are as an IT professional trying to keep safe, that you need them to work with you, right? Well, now 1Password, which is kind of one of the kings of authentication, together with Collide, have provided a fantastic solution they call extended access management. It's more than a password manager. It's more than an Okta validator of devices. It's everything you need. See, here's the question. If you're an IT professional, here's the question for you. Do your end users always use company-owned devices? They never use their own laptops. They never bring their own phone to work, do they? They always use apps that you approve. They never run Plex or something else on their company-owned laptops? Of course they do. Of course they do. So how do you keep your company's data safe when the data is exposed to all these unmanaged apps sitting on these unmanaged devices? That's why you need 1Password extended access management. It's the first security solution that brings all these unmanaged devices, all these apps, all these identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected, that every device is known and healthy, and that every app on that device is visible and approved, or at least you know what it is and it's up to date. It solves problems the traditional IAM and MDM just can't touch. If you think of your company's security as like the quad of a college campus, you got the nice brick paths between the buildings, the ivy-covered buildings. They're the company-owned devices That's the buildings. The IT-approved apps, that's the paths. The managed employee identities, those are the people walking peacefully, politely, and properly along the paved. But then there's the paths that people actually use, right? They cut through the grass because it's the shortest point from building A to building B. So you got these dirt paths. Every quad has it. Those are the unmanaged devices, the shadow IT apps, the non-employee identities, like contractors. You got to let them in. But most security tools don't even know about them. They work on the happy brick paths, and all the security problems are happening on those little dirt roads. That's why you need 1Password extended access management and security for the way we actually work today. Available now to companies using Okta. But here's the good news. This is why the Collide 1Password merger is such a great thing. Coming later to Google Workspace, yes, Jeff, and Microsoft Entra. So more people can use this great solution. Check it out. Find out more at 1password.com/twig. That's one, the number one, PASSWORD.com/twig. 1Password extended access management. You want this thing. Trust me, you really do. We're so glad that they are a sponsor of This Week in Google. All right. Back we are with...
I forgot for a moment that Jeff was
the handsome,
what he was.
Young, good-looking Jeff Jarvis. And the actually handsome and young Paris Martineau.
It's me. I've got a beard to rival Jeff.
You also have a tiny cowboy hat.
It's true. It's fallen somewhere.
So, do you care? I mean, I know Jeff does because he uses a Pixel phone. But you're an iPhone user, right? I think
I am an iPhone user. Yeah.
As am I. Although I have a Pixel phone. This is the Pixel 8. Yesterday, Jeff and I watched, I thought, a fairly good presentation from Google. Not perfect. They did it live, which
I was going to say, didn't Gemini fail multiple times?
3 times for one guy. What was he asking, Jeff? I forgot. It was some simple thing.
He was trying to take a picture of a concert calendar and then have it figure out the connections between that and his personal calendar.
When he could go see this performer.
Right.
And it when it failed, it didn't say anything. It just sat there.
No.
We were all used to this.
I saw he had to switch phones.
He's had to switch phones. And then he was very, you know what?
He was so relieved.
A lot of credit to this guy, because when something fails twice, now you have to make a decision. Do I throw this whole demo out, or do I take a chance and do it a third time? Because it's bad if it fails 3 times. It's really bad. To his credit, he did it, and it worked the third time. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, I gotta buy that, right? But you know, okay. We were at this point rooting for him. I think. There are other things that it does, I think, that maybe you want. Do you want to do the photography first, or do you want to do the voices first?
Whichever, but I also don't want to forget the screenshots, too.
Oh, Jeff and I actually kind of grokked that feature. Tell us about that.
So we all take screenshots of things, whether it's something on our phone where it's a catalog or a menu or an appointment. And now you can use the AI to both store and categorize those screenshots, but the AI can also read those screenshots and use the information in a way that you then ask it to do.
Do you do that, Paris? Are you like Jeff, that you take screenshots of stuff you want to remember?
Yes. All the time. I today screenshotted instructions on how to beat the spider matriarch in auto mode in Baldur's Gate 3. And did I look at it once while I was actually doing it? No, but it brought me peace to know that it was there.
Well, imagine if you could use that feature all the time and those screenshots become a database of all the information you want to keep track of. See,
like your photos, it becomes another window on your world.
Right. Or your email, right?
So it's more than just searchable. Because like in my iPhone, I could search like whatever. I could search the word spider matriarch and it would pull up that screenshot. You're saying that I could do something even better with
That's
this?
That's pretty good. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can search in text and have been for a while.
So that's one of the features.
Jason's example from having been there and watched it is that there was a pre-sale and a sale date, and somebody wanted to put the reminder of the actual sale date in their calendar. And so it figured out which was which, because the AI, the sale date was bigger, and then did as asked.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's using AI. It's more than just OCRing the text in the image. It's using the AI to understand it, and then you can query it in a way that is useful. That's pretty good.
The other thing is I take pictures. One of the things I take most pictures of, the most boring thing I can, is whiteboards.
Yeah, perfect.
And I can imagine what it would do with that. Right.
It did that. It's, so these are used. I think this is what's cool about what Google's doing, and Apple's somewhat doing this too, which is instead of using AI to, write stories or have a conversation with you or draw weird images of Jeff in the swimming pool, which I'm not admitting that I did or denying that I did. I tried. I wanted to have a really good image for you, but anyway, you can, what was I, now I've lost track. I just have that image in my head.
Things. I think this makes AI a lot more practical.
Useful. Practical and useful.
Yeah.
And Apple did the same thing, by the way, at WWDC. They really focused on real world applications of AI. And I loved that one of the first things they showed was having Gemini listen to your phone call and then synopsize it for you, so that after a phone call, you have phone notes for every call you make. Now, I don't know anybody makes calls anymore, but if you did, that'd be really useful.
The other question we want to ask Kathy Gillis on is, in two-party recording states, whether that would be a violation, because it's not recording it in audio, but it is recording the substance of the words.
I would assume. I don't know.
I had the same reaction. I went, well.
Yeah, because
it's not recording it. So I think it bypasses that law. It's just afterwards. It's like your assistant's listening in. And it would be legal. Wouldn't it not be illegal, Jeff, for an assistant to be on a phone call with you and then write notes so that you had the summary?
Yeah, and in fact, where you're right, Leo, is because it's about technology. So that law had to come once. Oh my God, you can record my voice?
Yeah.
Probably technology specific.
Actually, the genesis of the law is kind of funny, because you would think that somebody who's recording a call would know they're recording a call. In many states, that's all that's required. and I think it comes from it's related to wiretapping.
Law.
Yes.
Yeah. Because at least one party in New York, it's a one-party state.
Right. So
my question though is, what's happening on the back end? Is that audio, is the transcription happening locally on your device, or is it being sent somewhere?
That's your chip. That's the beauty of the chip. There, as one presumes. I don't know that that's the right question.
Because
so much more of this can be done locally.
If it is going somewhere to then be summarized, then I think that would run afoul of two-party consent, because then
you're actually recording it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to send it off to the AI in the cloud. It's anyway, but you agree it's a useful, for you, especially as a reporter,
very useful.
Huge feature, right?
I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Like you might be held to your promises.
No.
You said you were going to come to the skee ball tournament. I have the notes.
My source calls anyway, just for my own note-taking purposes, but I keep it on kind of a local device that I don't connect to the internet. I would feel uncomfortable with having potentially sensitive calls being connected to some. Yeah. I would need to understand more about how it works. The first point that comes to my head, which may or may not be, it's definitely not something most people would have to consider, but I would be concerned about the potential legal implications of this, down the road. For instance, for me, a journalist, I think sometimes I get threatened with lawsuits based on what I'm reporting. So far, I've never actually been sued, knock on wood, but a part of that is you cannot destroy any material. And so my worry is, what if I get one of these notes sent to me about a call that somehow transcribes something wrong or gives me a slightly inaccurate summary because it doesn't understand the context of the words. And then that becomes admissible in court if I'm sued, and it spins something in a negative light inadvertently. Like that's the thing that.
On the other hand, you also want to record, you want records of things, and it makes it easier to get those records.
Yeah. But on the third other hand, for us three-handed people, I could see it potentially being something that, police would go after for, in discovery of people,
More and more, your phone is a record of everything you do, some of it very private. Yeah. That's why police want to get into your phone. So Robbot.
So what if your police, instead of just pulling your call logs to try and potentially bring you for a crime or something like that, they got a description of all of your calls.
This is really in a nutshell what everybody was concerned about with Microsoft Recall. Same idea, right? It was recording everything you did as screenshots. If hackers got it or law enforcement got it, it was a violation. So this is Robbot in our Discord says, here's the instructions from Google. He says it is on device. When in a call on the Pixel 9, you tap the More Overflow menu for call notes. Google will disclose to all parties that you are recording.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting? With a screen noting that it's in progress, calls have to be longer than 30 seconds. After you hang up, it will take a moment for the call notes to generate the summary, which will appear in the Recents tab with a tap letting you view the full transcript and listen to the audio. So it is recording it. And this is all powered by on-device Gemini Nano.
So then it has to be two-party consent.
Two-party consent, and it is a recording as well as an analyzed. Yeah. But it's on device. I mean, more and more, we need protection for these devices because, everything's in here. And if you're a reporter and you're using this as your notepad,
or even a politician. I mean, think about everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks with the Trump campaign and the Iranian cyber attacks that I think they tried to target people on both sides of the aisle as well. Like, from what I recall, I could be wrong or out of date. I think Roger Stone may have been one of the points of weakness in there. And it was a personal...
Yes.
The guess, anyway.
I think it was something to do with an
attack.
Email attempt. But imagine if you had... Suddenly, one of the things you had to be worried about is a description of every call you ever made was also potentially up for grabs for hackers. That would be bad.
Wow.
But I'm figuring their risotto recipe on the right is probably just rice and roti.
That's true.
All right. So I thought that was a nice feature. The screenshots really cool. feature is a nice feature.
Yeah, it is.
These are all very practical uses. Here's what Google says in their keyword blog about the new photo features. And this is a little more controversial. Take stunning photos and videos with upgraded lenses. Okay, that's not controversial. The only lens I think that's upgraded is the 5x telephoto lens, the 48 megapixel. Right. The others are just improved with better computational photo capabilities. The 9 Pro Fold, $17.99, has an ultra-thin advanced triple rear camera system. Traditionally, folding phones do not have great cameras. So I think they want to improve that. They also talked about improving video and also giving some of these AI features to video, including HDR video, which I thought was kind of cool. This is the new HDR Plus imaging pipeline. Capture high-quality videos of special moments with super res zoom video. So it's zoomed in on those puffins from a great distance. 20x super res zoom in night sight video or video boost. They did something Google rarely does, which is compare their night sight shots with Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max's night shots. Although I don't know if it was a fair comparison. I think you could probably look how much this zooms in. That's really really cool. And, you can't get close to puffins because they're mean sons of bitches.
See, those puffins are probably talking about the privacy implications of this
technology. What the hell is that person? Hey, stop taping us. Get out of here.
Two-party consent.
Hey. I don't know what's going on in this picture. She's leading him through a flower shop by the hand.
This was just the lighting. And
Okay.
It has two different images, and it takes the shadows. It figures that
out. It's called HDR. It's still photography.
Also in video now.
It's nice to have that in video, yeah. AI upscaling to give you videos in 8K Nobody wants 8K videos. Be in the picture even when you're taking it. This is so weird. So you take an image, and then somehow you get in the image and take another one. Maybe you swap with somebody else.
Space. Yeah.
And now, she left. The woman on the left to take a picture of the woman on the right, and now you have all three of you in one photo.
Jason showed me a demo that they did today, where the first image, it's a button you hit for this purpose. Add me.
Right.
The first image is frozen. Then when the person goes in, let's say you're taking a picture of 4 people, the fourth person does something, but the original image of the 3 people doesn't change.
And you can see where they are. Somehow some ghost image must appear on the screen, so you know how to get in that shot.
I'm curious, how do you make sure that the person's standing in the same spot that you were?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You make room for them. No, you take the picture such that you
leave them room. Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of really funny and creative uses of this.
This will be very weird, including pictures of the same person 3 times over.
The great thing was in the demo that we saw yesterday with Leo and I is when the one woman leaves to go take the photo, she's in the picture twice. She's leaving her body.
Right.
It's an out of body experience kind of image. That's the most fun actually to me.
This is one that's more controversial. Make edits easier with Reimagine in Magic Editor, so you can use AI image generation on top of an image to make it completely different. We've seen this before, I feel like, but I
wonder what this is going to do for the tabloid industry.
You can't trust any image ever again.
Ever.
The whole industry that is like, they'll pay you $20K if you get a photo of like Kate Middleton out and about or something. How do you ever do that again when someone can do this?
Right. It's too easy.
And I go back to my favorite story when I put this in the book, that one of the photos we know of Abraham Lincoln is his body on slave owner John Calhoun, his head on John Calhoun's body.
Right.
This goes way back.
The photographer, using scissors in this case, did the edit because he thought Calhoun looked more presidential than skinny old Abe Lincoln. But this has gone on forever. But what is the historical precedent, Jeff? Right? I mean, we've for the most part we've trusted photos, and photos aren't that old; they're only a couple hundred years old.
But we showed when I was at the Association of Internet Researchers, all these philosophers there laughed like, we never know what reality is.
Right.
Wake up! There's nothing new here.
Right. You remember who was it that was fooled by? Oh, it was.
Are you talking
Arthur
about Plato's
Conan Doyle? Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes stories, believed in fairies because there was a famous picture 2 little girls took of clearly cardboard cutout fairies in the forest.
I don't know, Leah. Those could be real.
And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, for the rest of his life, believed in mysticism and fairies, all because of this clearly doctored photo. I mean, it wasn't even well done. I'll see if I can find it. Anyway,
if you want to believe in Tinkerbell, then there is a Tinkerbell.
Yeah, but with photos, even like angles can fool you. Even like a real photo taken from a weird angle can fool you, you know?
Oh, yeah. We've seen this all the time. We've seen videos. What was the video of the woman at the Academy Awards ceremonies and her mother disappeared behind her? Remember that?
Famously, there was that whole period where Mark Zuckerberg went on his tour around America and staged all those photos to make himself look like 6 foot tall when he's really a short king.
So this is the very famous Cottingley fairies picture.
I don't know. Those look like real fairies to me.
Taken by a 9-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Leo, I believe.
This is back in 1917. The pictures came to the attention, according to Wikipedia, of writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who then used them to illustrate an article on fairies that he'd been commissioned to write for the Strand magazine. Doyle, already a spiritualist, I guess, was enthusiastic about the photographs and interpreted them as clear and visible evidence of psychic phenomenon. 1917. So I guess the precedent is just wild. Anyway, so now you can do it even better with the AI. You can fix composition and editing with the auto frame in Magic Editor. So that's outpainting, right? So you're going to take an image and you're going to expand it to better frame a photo. It can even suggest a wider view of your image using generative AI to fill in the blanks around the subject. Again, this is the kind of thing that makes some people, photographers chiefly, crazy. Night sight in panorama, and so it looked like they did a demo. I don't have to try it, but they did a demo of the panorama that did a really nice job. This is, something we've been getting better and better at, and it does it at night as well, right? Zoom enhance, straight out of Blade Runner. Even after you've taken a photo, zoom, center, enhance. This is
all of our CSI dreams are come true.
It's true. But
enhance.
Do androids really dream of electric sheep? Get kids to look at the camera and smile with Pixel 9 Pro Folds made you look. Now, this is hysterical.
Please.
And you need to use this on your skee ball team.
I think they will really like that.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then you have a funny picture of them.
So,
They are kind of captivating. I'm not going to lie.
You can't help but smile. Oh,
I would have loved to see what the test focus groups for this were like. They just had to have groups of unruly kids and be like, which one's the best?
They must have had at least one that the kids ran screaming. Right?
No, yeah, absolutely.
No, make it stop. So The Verge and others have somehow gotten access to these devices and have started giving us reviews. But I think this is one where I wouldn't jump on it unless you...
well, that's my question. Did you buy it?
No, Paul Thurrott did. I was surprised. It's hard for me to... it's hard for me to justify it. The good news is trade-ins mean that it would only cost a couple $100 because here's my Pixel 8 XL, Pro XL. And so I could use this to trade in. But that's the good news. The bad news is I already did it once to get the Fold. So I don't know. I did it with Google Fi. We'll see. I won't trade in the Fold. I'll keep the Fold and then trade in the Pixel 8 and see if I can get a good deal. Maybe you can.
I saw some reference today. I tried to see it that you could get up to $300 gift cards if you bought through Amazon. I couldn't find that.
Everybody's competing. All right, let's find out. I'm going to go to fi.google.com and I'm going to go shopping on Google Fi. And let's see, what should I get? The Pixel Pro XL. And which color do you like? By the way, that was one of the features. It comes in porcelain.
I like the hazel myself.
Obsidian hazel.
Isn't hazel just gray?
Yeah.
It's gray.
Wow, my eyes
There's
are
white,
black,
white is porcelain.
Gray,
Obsidian
and
is black.
Rose gold that was popular 6 years ago.
No, come on. If you would have some respect for me as a man to own a pink phone, wouldn't you say, "Wow, he's very confident in his masculinity"?
I would say cute
I think
phone.
you're virtue signaling.
Okay, 256 gig. We talked about this, Jeff. I think that is enough. So that's $11.99.
I don't know, guys. Is that enough?
Yeah, but
Where
wait.
are you putting all your photos?
I have something to trade. See that? I have something to. I don't want
love
device
that
protection.
The way it's phrased makes it
I
feel
got
like
something
you're
to
bartering.
trade. I got something to trade. I'll tell you what I got to trade.
12 to 24
a Pixel
chickens.
8
I've
Pro.
got
Best Buy
barrels
will
of
get a
fresh
$200
produce.
gift certificate.
Is my phone in good
$200
condition?
Amazon.
It's in the best. Oh, yeah, only $270. What? Okay. Maybe I don't know. That's not a huge deal. If I had the trade-in, now I'm paying a lot. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because it's a $1,200 phone. So I'm really still paying over $900 for the thing. Forget about it.
Forget about
So
it.
what about
Forget
me?
about
I got
it.
my old 6.
Oh,
The
yeah.
dying
What do you get for the
battery?
trade-in on that? $2
I don't know.
and a stick of gum.
Just a wisp of smoke. Just a sense. You get a sense of accomplishment back is what you get.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching This Week in Google. We actually have Google stories here. That's in honor of the return of the wonderful Paris Martineau from the
I'm
information.
just such a big Google head, you know?
She's a Google head.
That's what they say.
Martineau.01 on the signal if you've got a scoop. And Jeff Jarvis, I didn't take the card when I moved. I don't know what you're.
That's actually devastating, Leo. That's really sad.
I have to go back and get the card.
Oh my God.
He's the Town Knight Professor of Journalistic Integrity, Emeritus at the Craig Newmark. Do you have the
I need to kind of do this
Newmark
camera in
Graduate
there,
School
but
of Journalism at City University of New York and the director of the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism? Thank you, Benito. Saved the day. Whew. Can I get that printed up on a laminated card?
Do you even own a printer at home?
Yeah, we have two, which we don't need.
Why two?
Yeah, I got a laser printer right here. The one that they say everybody has, but nobody talks about, the Brother laser printer. And then that's black and white. And then Lisa actually has a very good color HP multifunction because
I got a question for you.
Needs
We
color.
have a, I think, 18-year-old Canon copier. And it's wonderful because you can
God.
do more,
Remember
larger,
copiers.
and you can shrink, and you do all kinds of things.
Oh, wow.
And it's a plain old copier. You can't buy a copier anymore.
No,
Everything is
Oh.
made digital. You cannot.
I'm impressed. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Do
You're
you,
probably the only
love it.
man alive who could copy their own butt right now.
yeah, because I can't do that. I have a multifunction, but if I sat on it,
That's what
That's
the
it.
kids are missing out on in our
don't know about
tech-enabled day. They don't know that you could put your bare butt on the copier and let it roll.
how do you know that?
I was a child once.
Okay. Do you know who the key operator is for it, Jeff? See, if you get that little that error 53
remember that.
contact
I
key
remember
operator, you're done.
Yeah.
Is there a Xerox machine repair guy in the area?
Well, actually, yes, we had to have somebody come out
Oh,
to do a
impressed.
kludged repair of it to keep it going.
Was it like an
Nowadays-
old-timey man in grayscale?
It's like a typewriter. It's I think the son of a typewiter
it's
repair.
the Maytag repairman. I don't get many calls for these devices much anymore. Let me
There's
see
a
if I can.
cobbler in my neighborhood that is in the tiniest little shop you ever
Oh yeah,
could
all
see.
cobblers are in
It,
tiny shops. They don't need
A tiny shop, barely the width of a door. He clearly has to scramble over piles of stuff to get back there. He looks like he's out of a Miyazaki film. And I'm just like, wow, what a life you gotta live.
They don't need a lot of machines. They have a hammer, some nails, and a thing that spins real fast,
buffer thing.
And he's
a
got
buffer.
like
and they're done.
47 boxes of random
shoes.
stuff.
And
all
you go
over
in
there.
there, and it kind of smells like shoes.
It smells like you could pass out because of the chemicals, and they only take cash. And you got to scream over whatever's going on.
We
in there,
have
and
that
it
guy,
feels
too.
Fantastic.
Even though there's a lot more room in Petaluma for shoe cobblers
it's
than there is in New
only
York.
in a tiny.
But they're all in the little tiny hole in the wall places because they don't need more. And they're jammed with shoes, right?
Yeah,
And they know where your shoes are.
it's true.
But don't forget your tag because they won't give it to you without your tag. So here is the Wall Street Journal, the wonderful Joanna Stern, who before she became big shot at Wall Street Journal used to come on our shows all the time. This is going to happen to Paris too, Jeff. She's going to become some big shot and we'll never hear from her again.
Get her Pulitzer. And then,
Yeah. Once you
And
get
I'll
the
be
Pulitzer.
fighting with you on Twitter, Jeff,
And-
along with the rest
Yes.
of the journalists.
Yes.
Jeff made some enemies this week.
Oh, did you, Jeff? You want to share
yeah.
that?
Oh, Jeff went wild.
What were
if
you
go
doing,
down the
Jeff?
rundown, you go down the rundown under my section at the very bottom.
So you're
Yeah,
copping to
okay.
this, huh? All right, let me go to the...
Oh, yeah.
Jeff's angry thread has
Listen to what I said.
millions of views. He got multiple
does.
back and forths with prominent journalists. So many that I lost
But here's the thing,
count.
Paris.
What line,
Only-
Jeff?
no,
What
only-
line?
Only a half dozen journalists. Everybody else agreed with me, honest to God. And David Folkenflik said from NPR, you can't have that opinion. Well, yes, I do.
That's the
So-
one I saw.
This-
And the thing is, I do have to commend you. You responded in depth to every single one of your haters. Which
So should I
is
read
a
the,
true poster?
Go ahead.
It's a very
Sure.
long thread.
So let me start with
But
the
you can-
initial
you can-
tweet, right? Is this the
This
first
is
one?
An answer. This is an answer to Margaret Sullivan.
Oh,
said
so where?
Kamala
So I
Harris
should go to the first
must
one.
be- No. That was right.
Start here.
Headline there. No,
Oh, so
the
this
headline
is
there
Margaret
says, Kamala
Sullivan's
Harris
Kamala must speak to the press. Press hates it. New York Times hated it that Joe Biden never gave him the official interview. And now they're mad because Kamala's a little busy right now running for president, and she hasn't done the interview. And so this is
Jeff says
your response. What press? The broken and vindictive? Can I read it in your voice?
Sure.
You should do one of the voice modulators while you do it, though.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. Let me see. Which one would Jeff be?
Stentorian.
What press? The broken and vindictive Times? The newly Murdochian Post? Hedge fund newspaper husks? Rudderless CNN or NPR? Murdoch's fascist media? No. She can choose many ways to communicate her stance with others outside the old press. Is this too creepy?
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty creepy.
Plus, it's not very understandable.
I'll do it like this.
So she can choose many ways to communicate with her stands with others outside the old press and with the public directly.
Old press. You're going to emphasize old press. That really pissed them off.
Old press can and should be bypassed. Kamala must speak to the press. Margaret Sullivan. Oh, that's the headline. Yeah. So you're just basically saying it's fine. This is the modern times. She's got other ways of communicating.
Black press, Latino press, LGBTQ press, and all the others.
But I think, okay, so I'll just play devil's advocate here. If you're running for national office, it is not inappropriate for you to give interviews to the press so that they can ask you the hard questions, right? And that you are put on the spot.
So what you're going to have is you're going to have political reporters asking you, as they do with her, about Trump, about other things. They don't actually ask policy questions. And
well, that is one of the problems, isn't it, with the horse race coverage of elections these days? They don't really care about, well, what are you going to do about unemployment or inflation or whatever? What they want to know is, well, do you hear what Donald Trump said about you?
Right. That's what they've been doing on the grabs.
They're trying to turn it into Twitter is what they're trying to do.
So what I'm saying is, and she just did an interview with Essence.
That's great. So there's a national magazine.
Go to LGBT press, community press. I said podcasts in there. I said go to a podcast. Plus Howard Stern, who did a phenomenal interview with Joe Biden. Do Howard Stern. There's all these other places. She doesn't need the press. The press needs her.
It's also the fact that she's been the candidate for 2 weeks. Give her a moment.
Exactly.
So at the Times and probably the Guardian would say, "Well, no, you should come to us first." But I agree with you. I think you're right. But I also would say, again, maybe be playing a little bit of
devil's advocate,
that they do act as a proxy for the American people, and as a proxy for the American people, they might have a right. I mean, she might have an obligation to speak to us.
That's the issue. She has an obligation to speak to some people. But first is she can get her policy across on her own. On Friday, she's going to do an economic policy talk. She's going to get it across in her own way, and she can communicate directly through social media and in all kinds of other ways. So this idea that only the certain big places can ask tough questions, screw it. No. But
let me channel.
Yeah. I pissed off exactly I counted them, 6 reporters who dared criticize me.
Margaret Sullivan, including Margaret Sullivan, who said,
Margaret was great.
He might be right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I think people got a little upset not realizing you were talking more about old press instead of, I think many people interpreted your comments as saying she should avoid all press. I think obviously your comments have some merit, but I think also I don't know, she should give interviews to a bunch of places, but that's me speaking as a journalist, not me speaking as a campaign advisor. Probably the politically expedient decision would be to not talk to anybody. But I think that if we want to foster a culture where we are getting back to the sort of established norms of our political discourse, we should ideally exist in a world where every leading American presidential candidate does multiple lengthy interviews with both big old establishment newspapers and new media things. I think there should be. You had
me in there until the end of that. Till the big old establishment. I say screw them.
Well, if I were
I have given up on big old media. I really have.
Paris nailed it, though. This isn't about eschewing big old media. The campaign advisors are saying, Kamala, you don't need to. There is no upside to you giving an interview that you may get caught in some gotcha moment or asked a tough question you don't want to answer. Your best bet is you're riding high. Give the interview when you have to.
Keep doing the brat memes, you know,
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. And I think that is, this is the problem with the political class in general. That is how you win elections, but it isn't necessarily good polity. I mean, somebody who's running for national office should speak to the public and get asked the hard questions. Sorry?
It's the problem it's the problem of the press. You look at what the New York Times did today. I also screened about headlines today. We had a great economic report. And so the New York Times, but she also has big problems.
Right. Because you know what? Happy news doesn't get views. And they're being
paternalistic and misogynistic and racist. And I don't think she should go anywhere near the big guys. And what comes out to me, Leo, what I said to David Polk, again, is you're the media reporter, and here you are with the biggest media story of a lifetime right under your nose, which is that the hostility. If you look at the retweets of my tweet, it is amazing, quote tweets. It is phenomenal what people are saying and what it's bringing out. And this is not conservatives.
It pissed them off.
This is no. It's the opposite. People agree with me.
Oh yeah, a lot of people agree with you. Good. All right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But remember, and you probably were 4 years old, Paris. But remember when Bill Clinton played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall? The mainstream media was incensed and thought it was demeaning and stupid. But Clinton was quite right. It helped him win the election because it made him personable and human.
You know what was worse, Leo?
What?
MTV and Clinton. Remember what that question was?
No, I don't.
Briefs or boxers?
Yeah.
So the presidential candidate of the United States was asked on MTV News, briefs or boxers, and old media was just appalled. But it was a very humanizing moment. It was a funny, humanizing moment. I don't remember his answer, and I don't really want to know his answer.
And now,
similarly, Harris was asked, I'm forgetting by who, what's your favorite curse word? And she said, it starts with M and ends with
Er.
No, she said not E.
Right. She said not er.
Specifically, yeah.
You know what? That was a great answer.
I did think it was a good answer.
You cannot win on that question, but that is a very interesting way to answer it with a little bit of a dog whistle, right?
Yeah. I agree with your point, Jeff, if you're talking about, I think, what is best for the candidate. But I also think that, it's easy to fall into the routine of they should be doing a lot more to lift up Harris because the person on the other side of the aisle is Trump. But also people should be asking tough questions and not painting everything in a totally rosy light if it is the person who could be the leader of America.
But I trust you. I would rather have you ask her about tech policy from the information than, I would also like to have a defenseman. But there's a lot, I won't name names here, but there's a lot of tech reporters on, let's say, the Wall Street Journal. I don't want them talking to her about it. I'd rather have you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, getting back to Joanna Stern and the Wall Street Journal.
Speaking of the journal,
insolently,
journal, as I always call it.
She picked the pink phone. And there she is. And these are very kind of classic Joanna Stern shots. Look at that. Every other publication has a picture of the phone. This one has a picture of the phone with Joanna prominently featured. So she interviewed Rick Osterloh, the hardware guy at Google, the guy who led the keynote yesterday, and talked about the voice. And she said if you have 10 different voices, and she chose the cheery and energetic Ursa, which, remember, Jeff, I liked the best too. She says it reminded me of Monica Geller from Friends. Okay. But the headline of the article is Google's Gemini Live AI sounds so human, I almost forgot it was a bot. And that's a little concerning. Google's Android chief, Rick Osterloh, told Joanna Stern the voice assistant was designed to impersonate humans, but he doesn't want anyone getting romantic with it, which, by the way, means he really wants you to get romantic with it. That is, he's putting the idea in people's heads.
Oh, boy.
It's straight out of her. I liked the sound. I really did. Let me see if I can.
Replica.
By the way,
Replica says we want people to get married to the nuts.
Well, I don't go that far. Sorry. Here is another fun picture of Joanna. Oh yeah, she's showing off the Pixel Buds. I thought I couldn't figure out why they had a picture. She's got
just
the Pixel.
hanging out.
Just hanging out with the Pixel Buds. Okay. I guess, after Walt Mossberg, God, this is what bugged me about Kara Swisher too. Look at this picture of her thumbs upping with, by the way, her foot is on Rick Osterloh's foot.
Because it's generated by AI.
Oh, good Lord.
That's the
you
feature.
know what this is? This is that
That's
thing
the
where
feature we're talking about.
Yeah. It says, no, Joanna really didn't step on Rick's toe. She just was mispositioned in the photo.
She also used the flash on Rick, but not on herself.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Either that or Rick is even whiter than Jeff Jarvis.
But Rick has his thumbs up in the photo she's taken. It's all faked because.
Right. It is faked because he doesn't have his thumb up in this picture. Hey,
yeah.
This is all just garbage. Fluff. This is not the kind of material you'll see here on This Week in Google.
Nuh-uh.
How do you like my ear?
Yeah.
These are
We're
earbuds,
never going
by
to
the way.
center images of ourselves on This Week in Google.
No.
Never.
We'll center a photo of Jeff from years ago.
We don't care. Okay. All right. Back to the news. What do you think of Elon Musk suing advertisers? How do you like that?
I think that the acronym for the organization GARM is really fun to say. Is my first
GARM.
GARM.
On now.
That's the funniest thing. So GARM is the global.
Sorry.
No, please.
I do think that this speaks to why we need anti-SLAPP laws nationwide, which is specifically, I'm not sure where else it is. We at least have it in New York.
We have it in California,
where if you
too.
file a frivolous lawsuit, the anti-SLAPP laws will make it so that the legal fees end up being paid by the person who filed what eventually is found as a frivolous lawsuit.
Here's the problem with that. People like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, et cetera, can afford to pay SLAPP fees. It's not a big deal for them. So it's no punishment, right? I mean, better them than GARM.
It would at least help. Like GARM has had to cease operations. As soon as this lawsuit was filed, they ceased operations and said it's because we're not going to be able to afford the cost of litigation. We're obviously going to go through it, but we don't have the money to continue to operate our organization and fight this lawsuit. And I mean, I don't want to sit here and cry tears for the
they could
advertising
continue. They could do the fight if there were any SLAPP laws.
I think it would at least be more feasible.
It wouldn't slow Elon down, but at least it'd give them.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Free Speech got rid of these advertising critics.
He famously, a year ago, said, "Go F yourself" to advertisers. And then when they did, he got so miffed, he sued them.
And he would lose on that case.
Well, not everybody agrees he would lose. He's using antitrust law. He's saying the advertisers, and he includes CVS Health, Mars, Orsted, and Unilever, colluded to do an ad boycott on X. And of course, trust law says you cannot collude to set prices. I don't know if you can't collude for a boycott. I don't know.
It's not. Is the good housekeeping seal of approval collusion?
Right.
If it says we as an organization said this is okay and that's not, and if you want to run according to our rules, here's our suggestion. Not collusion.
The lawsuit.
So GARM stands for the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. And this is from the Axios article. It was created by members from the World Federation of Advertisers in 2019 to set standards around brand safety for digital advertisers. So what happened here is when Musk fired a bunch of engineers from Twitter, changed a lot of the content policies, and said a wider variety of content that had previously been kind of pushed to the fringes or blocked from being on Twitter would now be able to be on X. GARM was like, hey, advertisers, we're saying that Twitter might not be a safe place for your ads to be. Your ad might end up next to pornography or inflammatory content. And then that is what potentially led to a number of advertisers deciding to stop advertising on Twitter. And that is what Musk is saying is illegal collusion.
This is a normal practice. Almost all the contracts we sign with advertisers say, they have a list of things we can't do to protect their brand. I can't do the show naked.
God help us.
Protects more than just the brand. I don't know. I don't have the contracts in front of me, but this is normal practice to have clauses in there to protect the brand against being. They don't want to be next to content that is deemed reprehensible, that reflects badly on the brand. So that's really SOP. That's completely normal. By the way, Interesting sideline to this. He sued in the Northern District of Texas, which is usually considered pretty friendly in a case like this. The judge, Reed O'Connor, longtime member of the Federalist Society, and a Tesla investor, has recused himself. And in fact, there have been questions about judge forum shopping in order to get this judge. But interestingly, not only does he have Tesla stock, he also has Unilever stock. So I think probably it makes sense for him to step back, and he did, something that you don't see happen as often as it probably should. I don't know what the status of this lawsuit is. It seems on the face of it that Elon is just miffed and is just,
Well,
but again, he told them to go F themselves.
Yes.
I believe
and then
something that happened this week was numbers were reported that Twitter's advertising or just general revenue is down to, I want to say it was somewhere around like $2 billion.
Yeah,
down
it's half what it was before he bought it.
Yeah.
Well, here's my fantasy.
Unsurprising.
My fantasy is the election is over. Elon had his fun. He did what he did. He either wins or he loses, and then he's bored with Twitter, and somebody decent can buy Twitter.
Who would maybe Steve Jobs' widow, Lorraine Powell Jobs, and her Emerson collection.
My fear is somebody just as bad or worse could buy it, right?
Yeah, you don't want. Do you want Jeff Bezos to buy it? By the way, nobody's going to buy it. It's encumbered with all sorts of lawsuits, including the one from the former chairman of the board for $20 million, saying Elon never gave me, never bought my stock as he promised to do when he took it private. There's all, and then Elon has now moved out of their San Francisco headquarters. Unclear whether he ever paid rent at all,
or settled any of those legal fights over people sleeping at work.
Yeah, I would not want to buy X unless Elon indemnified me and said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." Of course, you can't trust Elon anyway. So
no, you can't.
How about the interview with Elon and Donald Trump?
Don't call it an interview. An ad.
It was actually, Elon says it was a conversation, not an interview, because interviews are so boring. It took 45 minutes for the conversation to get off the ground. Elon lied, as everybody says. He lied, saying it was a DDoS attack, where The Verge says a number of employees privately told them, no. It was not a DDoS attack. The rest of Twitter was fine. It was... But I mean, you know what Elon should have said is so many people want to hear this conversation that it's brought the servers down, but he doesn't want to admit that the servers are fragile. So, which I don't know.
Then he lies and says that 1 billion people have heard it. 1 billion.
I think Trump said that, even though the number was on the screen, 1.1 million. Still, plenty of people listened. Is that an example of what Kamala should do? Elon has said he'll interview Kamala.
No, because that's not a journalist. That is a sycophant. She needs to go to somebody who has some chops, but some not.
Well, I would like to say we offer our fantastic attic studio and its incredible Dr. Evil chair to the vice president, if she'd care to do an interview. Questions provided by Jeff Jarvis, I might add. So I don't
You know what everybody suggests? Everybody suggests. Besides, Lawrence
Podcast.
O'Donnell is one.
Howard Stern.
The other one is podcast. The other one is Hot Ones.
And she should
go on that.
Honestly, I would like her to go on Fox.
Honestly, I do think Hot Ones would be great for them.
Where she eats hot wings.
Either. Honestly, I mean, it's just such a popular show. I don't watch it, but it is the sort of thing.
Joe Rogan's popular. Should she go on Joe Rogan?
Okay.
No.
The hot wings thing pisses me off. Here we work so hard to provide good content for you. And if I'd only thought of trying to poison people with hot sauce, I could be huge.
Well, Leo, it's not that. It is.
Do they ask
for
good
a much
questions?
Broader audience?
Do they? I mean, is it like a really good show, or is it like a car wreck where you just want to see how long people can go?
No. I think my understanding of it, I haven't watched it, so I can't speak to specifics. But my understanding is that it's like celebrity guests people want to hear. Yeah. They're a bit thrown. It's not your normal canned answers because they're eating progressively spicier hot wings. They're a bit more real. They are questions that are not your typical interview questions, and
there's
so it's
more to
kind
it
of
than
like,
that. Because there is strong evidence that when you do that, when you ingest a huge amount of capsaicin and throw your body into shock, then the endorphins kick in to protect you. And at that point, it's basically truth serum.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is kind of the whole pitch of the show.
Yeah.
A brief sojourn back to Musk and Trump, a sentence no one wants me to say, but I'm saying anyway. Something I thought was really interesting about this that was written that was quite interesting. It was a newsletter by Max Chafkin at Bloomberg about the interview, and he's covered Musk for like close to 20 years.
Yes.
He had a really interesting take on this, which is that throughout the interview, Elon was very deferential to Trump, even in on certain subjects that were quite unexpected. Trump kind of talked down to him about climate change and specifically insulted electric vehicles repeatedly throughout the interview. And Max Chafkin wrote, as someone who's covered Trump for close to 20 years, I found his deference to Trump a little jarring, but it makes sense as a political calculation. Musk has backed himself into an ideological and financial corner, transforming himself in recent years from a centrist businessman who is popular with both libertarians and liberals into a right-wing influencer and provocateur, unafraid to traffic in racism and conspiracy theories. This has arguably broadened Tesla's appeal among very conservative consumers while alienating what had been its core constituency. Musk's plan to reinvigorate the car maker's stagnant sales depend on an untested and still somewhat fanciful technology, robo-taxis, which in turn depend on winning regulatory approval. And Trump is the anti-regulation candidate. I thought this was just such an interesting take on a moment in this conversation I had totally glossed over, and really speaks to the broader political moment that Musk finds himself in.
Does Max impute a motive for Elon? Like he's playing 3D chess?
I mean, I think that's a little bit, my personal take is, I don't know if it's all that conscious, but I think that part of it is that he now has taken a position that you can't really back down from, which is that he is this kind of trolley provocateur that appeals to far right circles and is betting on a political climate where regulation is no longer in vogue. And he's going to do everything to continue to hang out with those people.
It's also his horrendous treatment of his daughter.
Yeah.
She has brutally come out of. And I think that matters. The other angle in this, if I may also go back to something here, is Trump's slur. It was very noticeable. And comedians commented on it. One USA Today column, I think, said he was Daffy Duck on drugs, like that. But mainstream media ignored it. And everybody heard it. Everybody knew. And
okay, I'm going to weigh in on this because on the last twit, somebody wrote, it sounded like Leo had just received dental treatment and was still under the influence of Novocaine and was lisping. and we had screwed up the processing, and I knew there was something wrong when I started the show. This is Twit, and it stayed that way for 2.5 hours. It is really easy in a streaming platform. You saw the pictures. Trump's talking into a phone. He might have been slurring, but he might not have been, and it's very easy for processing to give the wrong impression. So, unless you were in the room and heard him
Trump put
slurring.
out, then after having accused Kamala of having AI'd new verb for the crowd, now he's AI'd the audio. He put out a new version. But my point is that media.
Well, maybe he put out the correct version. How do you correct slurring?
Well, you can use AI to get rid of it.
No, I'm not going to knock him on
I do
that.
think it's also, I mean, I did see quite a few mainstream media outlets cover it. Like, I think you even pointed out it was on MSNBC. I know the New York
everybody.
Times pointed it out.
Kurt Anderson, finally they did a day later.
Yeah.
In fact, Kurt Anderson was on complaining about what I was saying. He said, I'm not one to attack the New York Times, but he was appalled. They wrote a huge story about this and didn't deal with it directly.
No, it was definitely they had a whole New York Times story about the technical difficulties and also that Trump seemed like it was slurring. Yeah.
That could easily have been an audio problem and not an actual problem. So I don't know. See if he keeps doing it. See if it continues.
Yeah.
You're watching Twig This Week in Google, the show that's supposed to be about Google with Jeff, but never is, with Jeff Jarvis.
Hey, we've talked a little bit about Google.
Well, actually, we did a lot of Google today. And Paris Martineau defending us. One more Google story, sad story. Susan Wojcicki has passed away, 56 years old, really
so
young. She was the YouTube CEO, but she was really much, much, much more than that to Google. Susan Wojcicki's mother, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jeff, but I think it was her mother, Esther, who owned the garage that they rented to a couple of young guys from Stanford, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, to start Google.
Wow.
I think I think it was Esther's house, but I think it was Susan who made the connection.
Yeah, because in Sundar's note to Google, it said Susan's journey from the garage she rented. So, but I always thought it was Esther Wojcicki. The Wojcickis were kind of amazing. Her sister, of course, founded 23andMe. And wasn't her sister involved at one point with?
Yes.
With who?
Larry or Sergey.
Larry or Sergey, one of them. Wojcicki was, I think, the 17th employee at Google. She was a Googler. She is not just the former CEO of YouTube, but she retired a couple of years ago. Now we know why. She was ill. But she also persuaded Google to buy YouTube, seeing the value there. She was responsible for so much of Google. AdSense was hers. She really built the modern Google. And was also, and I never met her, maybe you did, Jeff, but she was also
I have, yeah,
universally considered a great person.
Figure at Google, not just as YouTube CEO. She retired due to health reasons. She championed the YouTube acquisition, recognizing its potential.
Are you listening to the hot ones? What's going on?
I think that's you.
That's me?
It says it's coming from Chief Twig.
That's you.
It's Gemini.
It's coming from inside the house?
The call is coming from inside the house.
I am scared.
How was that? Okay, sorry about that. I don't know. Oh, it was my phone. It was. Okay.
Okay.
That's exactly what I just said.
Susan.
It's like it quoted me. All right. Well, anyway, it's a very sad story. So now you're breaking up a little bit, Jeff, but tell me of your experience meeting her.
Oh no, Jeff, we're losing you.
I met her obnoxiously at Davos. So I met Susan at Davos, where I watched all 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Do you hear me? No.
Jeff, you're slurring.
Jeff, there's something wrong with you. We've got to get you to a hospital, Jeff. This has
Jeff,
to be the way you're talking.
Raise your arms. Can you raise both arms? Okay.
Are you smelling toast, Jeff?
I think it's better now. Go ahead. You met her at Davos. We did hear that.
I met her at Davos when I watched her offer to a room full of news executives to introduce them to YouTube creators so they could learn something about video and the internet. And they all scoffed. They thought this was terrible. And then I watched her a couple times at VidCon with her keynotes there. And it was great, the respect he has had for those creators. She really created a lot at YouTube that put the creators forward and first.
She was working at Intel when she met the boys, rented the garage of her Menlo Park, California home for $1,700 a month. This is from the Washington Post. That's where PageRank was born, was created. And she, went to work, one of the earliest hires, employee number 16, company's first marketing manager. She helped launch and grow ventures like AdSense. Get this list of things she started. Google Analytics, Google Books, Google Images, the Google Doodle. She pushed for the acquisition of YouTube in 2006, became its CEO in 2014.
Nothing that Google has killed, that all still exists.
That's a good point. These are all the profit drivers for Google. These are all big money makers for Google. Well, maybe not the Google Doodle. I don't think that makes any money.
No, the Google Doodle's raking it in, I feel like. Culture capital.
Goodwill.
Anyway.
And it's a phenomenal family. Esther, her mother, taught journalism at Palo Alto High. And her father was, I think, a physics professor, something major.
Yeah, he was chairman of the physics department at Stanford.
Stanford, I mean, geez.
I mean, this is a very high-powered family. Yeah.
So 2 years ago, Susan left for what we know now as health. A year ago, she lost her son to an overdose. A year ago, she lost her father. And now Esther has lost all three in a period of a year. And I just feel they're just a phenomenal and amazing and wonderful, bright, generous family. And it just tears my heart apart.
She's survived by her sister, Ann Wojcicki, founder of 23andMe. Janet Wojcicki is a professor of pediatrics at UCSF. And her mother is still alive, Esther Wojcicki. She wrote a book in 2019 that I should have read called How to Raise Successful People. She obviously was an expert at that. So a great loss to us all and way too young. Oh, yep. Speaking of loss, I look like I've lost my head. Oh, there, it's back. Oh, congratulations to our good friend. Did we talk about this? Mike Masnick has joined the board at Blue
I think we
Sky.
did last week.
We did last week.
Cool.
So he's very busy now. We've been trying to get a hold of him, get him on the show. We will. But that is a huge get for Blue Sky and very encouraging for this Twitter alternative. I think it gives Blue Sky a lot of legitimacy in the eyes of those of us who follow Mike and Tech Dirt as fans, you know. Oh, this was a story that you mentioned yesterday, Jeff, and I said I promised I would bring it up today. A study from the Journal of Hospitality Marketing and Management. Brands should avoid AI. It turns out, so what they did is researchers sampled participants across various age groups, showing them the same products. What is going on with my picture? Is that
hey?
There it goes.
Everybody just wants to see me, I guess.
That's all we want.
The only one that can.
Nobody wants to see us. They gave them the same exact product. The only difference is one was described as high tech, the other as using AI. Dogan Gersoy, one of the study's authors, said, we looked at vacuum cleaners, TVs, consumer services, and health services. In every single case, the intention to buy or use the product or service was significantly lower when we mentioned AI in the product description.
Is that hilarious?
By the way, speaking of product descriptions, I should mention that Gersoy is the Taco Bell Distinguished Professor of Hospitality Business Management at Washington State.
Should I not have that chair now that I'm emeritus? Should that not?
You should be the Chipotle chair.
Career?
Yeah, or you could be the Taco Bell chair.
I'm the Taco Bell chair. I'm a Taco Bell guy.
Oh,
What
my
Taco
God.
Bell product would you want to be the chair of? I would want to be the Taco Bell
no, you
Fiesta
see-
Potato Fellow.
Well, I actually like the grilled.
Okay, we got to change your lower thirds. Paris Martineau, Fiesta Potato Fellow, Taco Bell University. I think Jeff, you should be the chairman of Cruncheritas.
I like that you're so excited about Taco Bell that you're breaking up completely.
We can't understand a word
It's
you're
just
saying.
the universe doesn't want us to know.
So you have a new job, Paris. We should mention this. Here's a picture of Paris that doesn't
That's
look
true.
a lot like you.
Listen, none of the photos look much like the people, and that's fine. I recently switched beats a little bit. Previously, I was kind of a roving features and investigations reporter, and I've joined our weekend team, which is essentially like a little magazine sort of section.
I read the weekend briefing avidly. It's my favorite email, my favorite newsletter from the information. I love it.
Yeah, it's always really cute. We have a little recommendation, kind of like a picks of the week section, but we also do a like big read every week, which is kind of like a big magazine article as well as like smaller things too. And so I've joined that team, and my focus I'll be doing features investigations on kind of the intersection of children and technology. So I specifically will be covering all of these different bills like KOSA, the TikTok
great.
ban, the
That's
DOJ
wonderful.
actions on TikTok, as well as just kind of the complicated ways in which like technology companies and their products affect like young people.
We should get Jonathan Haidt on with you. That would be a great interview with you and Jonathan Haidt. How about it?
I mean, I'll do it, but I think we have to have Jeff there and then have a finger
Jonathan's
on the
the author
censor
of
button.
The Anxious Generation, which we have been talking a lot about since it came out. That's the one that says.
Have you read it?
No, I know John. Well, I've interviewed Jonathan before on his the book about was it The Righteous Mind, about conservatives and liberals and why they differ. And I thought it was quite good, but I did think at the time, I think he's kind of a crypto conservative.
I would recommend, Jeff and I were
podcasts.
emailing about this week, is If Books Could Kill, a really good podcast from Michael Hobbs and Peter Shamsari, did a deep dive into the anxious generation this week that I think is really interesting.
I will have to listen to it. What a great title for a podcast, If Books Could Kill.
And so specifically what they do is they look at like airport books or like all these books that like are like the important ones, like the Anxious Generation. I think some of the first ones they did was The Secret or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then look into it,
Oh.
Very interesting.
They also talk about Hillbilly Elegy, The Origins of Woke. Mm-hmm. Oh man, this sounds like a great podcast. Forget this show. Start listening to this one. That's a better show.
It's very good. It's 2 hours. It's highly researched by Michael Hobbs.
That's the big difference. We're also 2 hours. That's the only thing in common. Very good. I will listen to that. Yeah. And congratulations. So happy for you, Paris. Yeah. Is this a promotion?
I mean, kind of. I don't know. It's the same. I'm kind of doing the same job, but I have more of a focus right now, which is fun. I think it's important to kind of change up. For at least me, I get bored if I'm kind of doing the same thing for too long. So I think it's fun to change up my focus. I mean, I'm still going to be covering like weird things going on at tech companies and looking for scoops and things like that. But this means on a month-to-month basis, if I have a question of what should I be looking into, I've got an answer. So,
and I think your new partner, Josh, is it Koehn? Is that how he pronounces it?
I'm not sure. I'll find out on Monday when I talk to him on the phone for the first time.
Congratulate him. He was trying to become the Miss Gilroy Garlic Festival queen, and the actual he wasn't trying to do it. He wrote about
I think he wrote about the Miss Gilroy Garm.
I thought initially in the initial read of this sentence, I thought he was running for it and got cheated out of it. But no, he wrote about the woman who became Miss Gilroy Garlic Festival queen and how she had cheated to become. Why anyone would cheat to become the queen of the Garlic Festival is a matter for Josh to explain. But anyway, that's how he started his career. And it's been all uphill ever since. The information, congratulations to our good friend, Paris Martineau, who is now a big part of the Information Weekend. It's one of the reasons I subscribe is I just love the information. The information, oops, I just closed it, sorry. Theinformation.com. And it's well worth it. Really a great read. Great read. So you have in here, Jeff, the story that Eric Schmidt blames remote work for the company's struggles in AI, but maybe you didn't know the Wall Street Journal just published a letter from Schmidt, an email to the journal saying, "I misspoke about Google and their work hours. I regret my error." He took it back. He took it back. Eric Schmidt said that Google was losing the artificial intelligence race because of its remote work policies.
Oh, boy.
We got to get Jeff a better filter. This one is just not working. Google decided, he said at Stanford, that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning. The reason startups work is because the people work like hell. That is a commonly held belief among a lot of CEOs in startups, that what family life, you're crazy. That's not what we're doing here.
I feel like it's also a commonly held belief. I mean, forgive me for saying, but among your guys' generation, I feel like oftentimes I hear this even in our own newsroom from some of our older editors who are like, oh, back in my day, we would stay in the newsroom for 12 to 16 hours and work nights and weekends. And
I'm going to give you a little insight into that.
Done.
No, that was not part of our youth. We were the laziest generation. But that's the best way to get young people to do your work for you is to insist that they stay late while you go out and have a martini.
I mean, that's what I really think whenever people say, I'm like, it's ridiculous.
No. Jeff, am I wrong? I don't.
Well, there's macho in certain places. There is newsroom macho. Paris is right.
Maybe in the newsroom, yeah.
At the launch of People magazine, famous story was Dick Stolley, the founding editor, turned to Jim Gaines, who was a later editor, at the urinal and said, "Why don't you go home early tonight, Jim?" It was 3 a.m.
Oh, Christ.
Macho.
Well,
there's a lot of macho.
I can only speak for myself, but I'm the laziest son of a bitch, you know. I do not work long hours. When it comes to work-life balance, life.
Oh, you're on this. You're making shows constantly.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because Lisa said, "Oh, now that because we stopped doing Ask the Tech Guys," she said, "Now you really have a good life." You say, I said, "Yeah, I'm only doing 5 shows a week, which is what I've been doing for my whole life in radio is 5 shows a week." I was torn between Hellman's mayonnaise in aid of nuclear fusion, or this story about Mark Zuckerberg's 7-foot statue of his wife.
Oh my God.
He commissioned a giant sculpture of his wife, Priscilla Chan. He, in a photo of the statue posted to Instagram, he said he's bringing back the Roman tradition of making sculptures of your wife. Don't get any ideas, Lisa.
Okay, I do respect that as a comment, a way to post about a sculpture you got of your wife. That's very funny, but it doesn't look good, I don't think. I think it looks kind of scary. I wouldn't want to have to see that in my backyard.
Yeah. What is she? Is that? Yeah, you're right.
She doesn't look great.
Yeah, there she is, by the way, next to it. So it's about twice as tall as she is.
Yeah, it's very tall. It's got some weird shiny cloak on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Why is it teal?
The color of that movie, the James Cameron movie.
Oh, it does look like The Abyss. She's wrapped in the guy from The Abyss. Benita, what you're saying? Why is she green?
Why is she teal? Yeah.
Teal, even better.
A great question.
Because she belongs on the planet Avatar. I don't know.
Pandora.
Pandora, right.
Maybe
Sorry.
it was like supposed to be
I'm bad with
the
popular
color
culture.
of the oxidized Statue of Liberty. I don't know.
Oh, it does kind of look like the Statue of Liberty.
Or maybe it was bronze and now it's oxidized.
Oh.
Well, it's kind of disembodied too. It's very.
Have we got to go at this point? We've been going on for a long time. Is there any other urgent news that you would like to make sure that we talk about?
Well, I think one thing that maybe just, since I like to always do this, is let's blame Spotify for something. How they killed Latin America's podcast boom.
What?
Bitches.
That's kind of annoying. This is
Not
from Rest of
Latin
World,
America.
which I love giving a plug to. It's such a great journalism effort to cover global news in a country where we only care about what happens right here. How Spotify started and killed Latin America's podcast boom. In Latin America, podcasts and Spotify became synonymous. Now the audio industry is reckoning with the company's retreat. They commissioned hundreds of shows a couple of years ago, which helped build an industry and won them 90% of the market, according to Rest of World. But they've frozen funding now for new shows, and podcast producers are left holding the bag.
Tons of bitches.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to blame Spotify for our own woes. I don't think it's all Spotify.
A lot. Podcasts were going well.
I guess.
All right, so there's that. The other one is, I think
I've lost my my opportunity. In retirement, I was hoping to make Cameo videos.
Uh,
Well, the ship has sailed.
Maybe I should.
What is Rudy Giuliani going to do now?
So what are they out of business, or are they just nobody's using them?
Nobody.
Yeah, it was a cool thing. You know, you get a celebrity for $150.
It was going to be a fad for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the thing is just they're never going to be processing enough cameos that they're going to make money. 'Cause they're only taking a small percentage of that. They've got to also pay payment processors. There's never going to be a high enough volume for... Cameo is a perfect example of an idea that could have worked if it didn't raise a bunch of venture capital and thus was required to grow exponentially to survive. Like, it potentially could have worked if it was a very small team and started just with, a small amount of money and grew slowly. But the fact that it was saddled with tens of millions of dollars and then suddenly had to answer to venture capitalists that wanted it to grow at such a high rate, it was never going to achieve that.
You mean like, I don't know, Waymo? This is from Channel 4, NBC Bay Area. Actually, it's not Channel 4 anymore. It's Channel 11, sorry. Neighbors annoyed by late night Waymo honking. Apparently the Waymos gather at night. I can't play it for you because I'll get in trouble. But and they honk at each other. I've seen other videos of the Waymo parking lot as they're trying to leave for the morning, and they're not good at that. They're not good at that.
Each other's way.
They're getting each other's way.
The other bit of business Schadenfreude is the humane pin.
Oh no!
Returns are now outpacing sales.
Yeah. Of course.
Shocking.
There are only 8,000 left in the wild.
Wow.
I kind of want one now, just as a tech that would exist.
I don't wish them ill. I'm not sure why you wish them ill.
Speaking of promised tech, what's your glasses update?
Never happened. I don't know.
How much did you pay for those?
Well, I have to check my credit card to see if I actually, you're not supposed to charge people for a product until you're ready to ship it. So I have to check and see if I paid it. This is from Brilliant Labs. These are these frame AI glasses that are kind of like the Metas, but they have a heads-up OLED display, which I thought really sounded cool. My mistake was ordering them with my my prescription and my glasses prescription. Because
you'd need to have your prescription in
I don't
it
want to have to wear
use
contacts to wear these. But I think that they discontinued that ability to do that. It apparently caused them issues. So I don't, I have the emails saying, "Oh, thanks for your order," but I don't have the glasses. Is anybody who ordered these? Has anybody received them?
I saw a
Somebody did a
little
good review of
chatter
it
on
recently.
Reddit that some people got, like it, or at least got a shipping notification or things like that. But it was very sparse. And I don't know if any of those people ordered the prescription ones.
I have to see if I got billed. Because if I did, then I guess I should do a chargeback, because I don't think I'm ever going to get these, which is too bad. I was supposed to get them in July, I think. Or no, earlier.
No, it was like April or something.
Yeah.
It was definitely months ago.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of fun, though, when you order something and you get it 3 years later and you...
A gift to yourself?
It's like, what the hell is this? I did that. I do that every time I order a Kickstarter. I ordered, and they're actually now a going concern. Away, they make luggage with batteries in it to charge your phone.
Yeah, the ones you have to take the batteries out of.
Right. The rules changed, and you're not allowed to check bags with batteries anymore. So, but I ordered this, and I ordered it years ago, and it arrived like 2 years after I ordered it. And I opened it up and said, "What the hell? Why would somebody send me luggage?"
And you're like, I sent me luggage.
I sent me luggage from the past. Sent me luggage. Thank you, me from the past. I did not order a Humane pin, but I did. Oh, I know it was supposed to come in July. My Limitless pin. That has not come.
I was wondering if it was going to be the Rewind pin or something else.
Yes, Rewind. They renamed themselves Limitless.
Oh.
I am such a sucker. I thought, well, if I never order anything from Kickstarter, I'll be okay. But no.
You're finding the Kickstarter Plus, which is it's a Kickstarter basically in name only.
Let us pause.
Capodimonte.
Capodimonte. Remind us.
QVC.
It was a gem?
No, it was a really ugly porcelain statuettes.
Here you go from QVC.com. Your choice of Capodimonte porcelain seasoned plates. We're sorry. This item is not available at this time.
Are the flowers sticking out of the plates, or is it just like printed on?
It's just cunning 3D painting. It's trompe l'oeil.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, how are you using that? But I guess that's how you're using it.
Pretty. Now, how much would you pay?
eBay, you're going to find a lot of Capodimonte.
Is the joke that they made up this name Capodimonte?
The joke is that Schmucks bought it. My father-in-law.
It sounds
Do you have
like
your dad's Capodimonte plates?
A morning greeting. Like, hey, Capodimonte.
It was like flower baskets and other things. It was all kinds of stuff.
I think it's lovely. Here's their website. Capodimonte in Italy. Free shipping to the lower 48. No, you can get more. Look at this. Beautiful stuff. Oh, wait a minute. That's
Ooh,
nice.
Lisa, we found your birthday present.
Yeah. Many of our customers are not sure what Capodimonte means. It's a style credited to the very finest Italian porcelain. It means the head of the mountain.
Well,
for some reason, on this website for Capodimonte, they have a picture of the Colosseum, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and the Bassano del Grappa, just to make sure it's from Italy.
From Staten Island.
It probably is.
No, it literally says up top, shipping from Staten Island.
Oh my God.
Or like that's where Forest Lamps and Gifts are from,
That's Forest Lamps and Gifts.
So people would watch QVC and it'd be described for a half an hour of this beautiful, wonderful thing. And then people pick the phone at old grandma's and order it.
Actually, I have my own personal version of QVC that me and my friends discovered one night when we do these like annual trips that we call cabin, which is just we drive a couple of hours north of New York City and rent an Airbnb that has a hot tub. And the first time we did this, we planned kind of poorly. A bunch of people didn't get off work until 6 on a Friday. So we had somebody, trying to drive a a weird giant van through Manhattan at rush hour. It was a nightmare. It turns out the van settings were somehow in Spanish and voice only. So for like 2 hours, we were shouting in Spanish to try and get it to connect to our phones.
Caponamante!
Basically, by the time we get there, we're all exhausted. We're angry because the Spanish thing. We turn on the TV, and what comes up but something called Cutlery Corner, which is just QVC for knives. Like,
oh yeah, that's a great place.
It is awesome. And since then, we found that there's like a Twitch stream of it 24/7. So sometimes I'll just pull up Cutlery Corner and see like a knife with Donald Trump's face carved into it or something. Check it out. It's a lovely experience.
Oh yeah, Cutlery Corner is well known in my circles, and there is a live stream going on right now on YouTube in case you
listen. That's exactly what I was picturing. I was like, it's definitely something like that.
Would you? I don't know why chat is disabled for this live stream. It's tough enough to use, nice enough to collect.
Tough enough to use is such a funny description for a knife. So, it's a great thing to watch with your friends while you are completely sober.
And if you really want to have fun, the Discord is telling me, search for Cutlery Corner fails. And,
I've never considered Cutlery Corner compilations.
It's live, and the Cutlery Corner blooper reel is pretty darn great.
Somebody hurt themselves?
I don't know. It's a little scary.
Oh, there are so many big knives.
It's the giant machete inching its way into the screen.
It's called the Big Kahuna. It's got 13 pieces.
It's the Big Kahuna. Get them all. Oh my God! Do not give this to anybody.
Knife on a knife. Okay, I want that one actually, though. The Big Kahuna.
Oh, something bad's gonna happen. I just know it. I just know it. Well, we'll leave this as an exercise to the viewer because we don't want to get taken down by Cutlery Corner. That would be the ultimate.
We get our
enigma.
third strike from Cutlery Corner.
Oh God! Oh, you're watching This Week at Google. That's Paris Martineau. She's in charge of kid coverage at theinformation.com. Youth coverage.
Like
she's got the Ute beat.
Kitty technology.
No, the impact of technology on kiddies.
Yes.
Yeah, online child safety and
there you go.
All its ilk.
Sounds much better. And of course, Jeff Jarvis, who is the Leonard Tao Professor of
journalistic excellence at
Craig. The Craig in graduate school of journalism at the City University of New York, emeritus.
Jeff, he's only said it 1,000 times.
I can't remember it. And you got it wrong too, though.
781 times.
It's journalistic innovation, I'll have you know, young lady.
Hey, I at least got journalistic.
I don't memorize this stuff. That's why I've got a teleprompter.
Now I am the professor of pissing off journalists.
Uh-huh. You are. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. Piss them off. The hell with them. They want her to work too hard.
Though.
Yeah. You're a journalist, though. Let's kick off the back of the book with Paris's Thing of the Week. Paris?
So, you guys might recall Mischief, the art collective. I feel like best known for recently, they did those big red weird boots. They have just released a new thing, which is they bought a baby cow named Angus, and they pre-sold it. It's already sold out. People could buy tokens that would grant them burgers. They pre-sold Angus as 1,200 burgers and 4 handbags, which he will become in 576 days unless all those people, whenever you buy these, you get like a gold or silver token sent to your house. And if you want, you can pull off, I believe, is the
remorse
sticker
portal
of regret. You have to, if you pull off the seal of regret, then you get a cow code that you can enter in the remorse portal, which says, do you regret your purchase? Do you want Angus to live? Time to cancel your pre-order. And if 50% of all people cancel their pre-orders, Angus will live.
But right beneath the seal of regret is the seal of sending. Which you can use to say, no, I want my hamburgers and handbags. What do you think?
Mary the Lobster, Leo?
No, there's the same thing.
Saturday Night Live, they did a whole thing where the audience had to vote whether or not to boil Larry the Lobster.
What was the outcome?
I believe it was safe.
See, I think Angus is going down.
I dare not search on Google right now because it will kill my bandwidth and my voice.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because there are 400 like people who bought 3 burgers each. And then there were 4 people. I think the 3 burgers people like paid like $35 or something. Okay. Then there are 4 people who paid $1,200 each for a handbag made of his flesh. Now, and those people get higher voting rates. So if all 4 handbag owners choose to not cancel their purchase, then Angus dies because they've basically got 50%. So it would require
electoral college.
Yeah, it's an electoral college system for this cow.
My goodness.
So I mean, right now, no orders have been canceled because this just happened yesterday. So no one has gotten their cow cancellation codes. But so long as I don't know, at least 1 or 2 of those handbag people cancel, and a sizable smattering of the burger people cancel, the cow will live and go to a farm upstate. In a non-euphemistic
You don't get
way.
your money, though, back.
No, you don't get your money back. You just get photos of a cow hanging out.
And by the way, the fine print under the seal of regret says, this is a moral decision. You will not be refunded. This decision is final and can only be made once. You can't change your mind if you pull off the seal of regret. By the way, the seal of regret has a little French on it. Oui, je regrette tout. Yes, I regret everything. This is an art collective, but I believe them. I think there is an actual cow.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely an actual cow. They've got a bunch of little photos.
It's sold out within a day.
It's sold out within like 20 minutes. I saw the post of this like 20 minutes after it went, and I went to go look at it, and I was like, oh, I kind of...
Did you want to buy...
I mean, I don't know if I would have bought it. Maybe I would have, and I would have definitely returned it.
Yeah,
I don't really eat burgers either way, but also I think it's a cool art project, and would want to support the life of the cow. But wow. I don't know. I've just been thinking about, like, I'm not normally a person who is captivated by any of Mischief's like art stuff. I couldn't name the last thing they did other than those.
Aren't they the ones that put fake action figures in toy stores and things like that? They do cool stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like them.
Yeah.
But I feel like this has really captivated me. I've been thinking about it for the last day. I'm like, man, what's going to go on with that cow?
Point, to get you thinking.
Yeah.
And how are Angus's chances looking at the moment? It looks like Angus will die because no one has canceled their orders.
But I mean, no one has gotten their tokens yet. This just when people just ordered yesterday, so it hasn't. They haven't shipped out.
You haven't had a chance to cancel. I know.
I like really that the motto for the website is "The cow is of the bovine ilk. One end is moo, the other milk." Food for thought.
La vache qui mord. Wow, that's a great pick. That is right up there with the top 10. Wonderful pick.
Right up there with cow magnets. Another top pick
Another
of
good
mine.
One. I'm sad because we have a stainless steel refrigerator and we can't have refrigerator magnets.
What?
Yeah, they fall
That's
right
devastating.
off. You put them on and they go right to the ground. It is. It's terrible.
That's a huge design failure.
I can't imagine.
Essential to the human experience.
I think that rich people make their refrigerators out of stainless steel just to defeat the fridge magnet crowd.
Humanity.
And it's like, it's not as if, like, you're still going to be getting fingerprints and stuff on it.
And you still get fridge magnets, but you just can't stick them anywhere.
That sucks.
If somebody would invent fridge magnets that stick to stainless steel.
I mean, I think those are just called stickers. But
yeah, but I don't want to put stickers on my fridge. That's no good. I want to spell things. You know, they get those magnet sets where you have different words and you can write poems and stuff. None of that works.
When I moved into my apartment, there were only just a small handful of those words left on it. And it spelled out help here, hell here. And that's what it says.
They had a lot of H's. They didn't know what to do with. Jeff, you have some good shows, good stories for your picks. I do want to mention, you don't have to do this one, but the fact that the radio station that I listened to in my entire youth growing up is gone, is devastating to me. I listened to WCBS radio. My clock radio when I was a kid is set to that. That was my alarm clock. I remember waking up in 1968 to hear that Martin Luther King had been killed, that Robert Kennedy had been killed. Every major news event launching to the moon, I heard on WCBS, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's the end of mass media. It's just another chapter in that. WINS continues. I think it was WINS has
10 wins.
Minutes. Give us 22 minutes and we give you the world, right? But yeah, it's who listens to radio anymore? Who listens to news on radio anymore? We have news everywhere.
People my age.
To that, yeah, I know, but it's gone. It's gone. I get called to do interviews on KCBS. Wait.
Yeah, KCBS is still on in San Francisco. But KGO, which was the number one news talk station in San Francisco, is long gone. I worked there. It's long gone.
Yeah. So on top of that, just to finish it off here with the death of mass media, Paramount Global took a $6 billion write-down on its cable TV business, and Warner Brothers Discovery did the same for $9 billion.
Oh.
Oof.
Mass media is dying.
Yeah. The future is somebody on his cell phone in his garden, I think.
Yeah.
I do think so.
Bitten by mosquitoes.
I was going to say it's dark outside now, so.
Oh, yikes.
Well, now that we're near the end, I can turn the
camera. And okay. You also had the Taco Bell story. All right. I think that wraps it up for the afternoon. We appreciate your joining us on this not dead media, the new media called podcasting, and we're I think even more modern now that I can do it from my attic, and we can use technologies like Restream, and this show is done via Zoom ISO and Ecamm on a Mac in the cloud, and we can use Restream to do stuff. In fact,
Restream is really cool. I
love it. I am thrilled, and we're going to do something on Friday. We're going to do our first, I'm calling them ad hoc from the attic. It's just kind of me and whatever I want to talk about. In this case, it's going to be me and the coffee geek, Mark Prince, or is it Price? Mark Price, who is my coffee guru. For more than a decade, I've been following his website, coffeegeek.com, and I've been using his reviews and his information about coffee to help me make better coffee. He's a really fun guy. He's going to join me 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC to talk coffee. And we will be doing it on Restream, which means we'll stream it on all 7 platforms. Let me see if I can do this. Discord for our club members, youtube.com/twit/live, twitch.tv/twit, Kick, Facebook, LinkedIn, and x.com. There you go. That's all 7. So you can watch it live. We will record it, and people who can't be there live will be able to watch it in the club after the fact, but you do have to be a club member to watch it. So we're trying to give you reasons to join Club Twit. So we're looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the world's most read coffee and espresso resource, and he's already sent me an email saying there's 2 things I will not talk about. I said, what? He said, I'm not going to talk about pod coffee. Don't ask me about any of the pod crap. I said, okay. And he said, and don't ask me about civet coffee, cat butt coffee. I will not talk about it. I said, well, that's all right. I know all about it. I've had it. So we will don't tune in looking for the latest Keurig tips. We're going to talk about real coffee. Made by
I just
real
love
machines.
the idea that it's like an email like you get before you interview a major political figure.
Exactly.
Where they're trying to negotiate the terms of the interview. They're like, I will under no circumstances discuss this service.
Don't ask me about those prior convictions. I will not talk about them. Yeah. You know what? I would completely agree. I'm not talking about pods, and I'm not talking about cat butt coffee. So there you go. If that's what you want for coffee, that's not the show for you. But we're going to do that at 2 o'clock. It'll be the first, I hope, of many, including Paris and I are planning it. We are going to do, Paris is going to walk me through one of the most popular games of the year, Baldur's Gate 3. She loves it. I started playing it, but I don't get it. And it turns out, I didn't know this, but Benito Gonzalez, our producer, and Anthony Nielsen, our creative director, both play. So we're gonna
squad up.
We're gonna squad up, and we're gonna stream it live and take your comments or snark. You can mock me. That's coming soon. As soon as we figure out how to do it, we'll be doing that in the next few weeks. And I hope we can do more of that, Paris, because I really think that'll be a lot of fun.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Paris Martineau, theinformation.com. And now you got to subscribe to the weekend newsletter, which you should have all along, because it's really great. I'm so thrilled that you're writing for that. You can give her tips on Signal, Martineau.01. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. I hope you make it out of the garden intact.
Media torture day.
Well, I'm so glad we could get you on anyway. And I hope Verizon comes back for you.
I've really spent a lot of time admiring this photo, and I thank you for that, at least.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
Looks like helmet hair, though, but...
I love doing this show. I look forward to it, and I hope you do, too. We do it every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. And as I mentioned, streaming live on 7 different platforms. There's no reason not to watch live. You can also join us in the Discord. We love our chatters. And the Club Twit is $7 a month for ad-free versions of all of our shows. Plus extra stuff like this coffee conversation. You're actually what's keeping Twit alive. We love our advertisers, but advertising is not enough to keep us doing what we're doing, to pay for Paris and Jeff and all our great team members. I haven't taken a salary in months. It's not for me. It's for them. It's for keeping this show on the road. And we love doing it. So I hope you will help us. Twit.tv/ClubTwit. You could pay $7 a month, but you could pay more if you want. But please join the club. We'd like to have you. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show are available in a lot of places. Of course, from the website, twit.tv/twig. You can also, there's a YouTube channel dedicated to the video. Yeah, we do audio and video of all of our shows. There's also, of course, the best way to subscribe, your favorite podcast player. Subscribe to Twig. You can get the audio or the video or both and listen and watch at your leisure. I hope you will do that. And I thank you for being here. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff. We'll see you back here in the attic again in a week on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.